Rugby World Cup 2023, folks. Pool A, we get to see Uruguay in action this week, folks. Up against host France, coming off the back of their big win over the All Blacks. We're going to go through some squads, some stats, predictions, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But just quietly, France are predicted to win this one pretty handily. It'll be great to see the Uruguayan guys back in action. Personally, I've not really seen much of their rugby, apart from their games against the US in the qualifying campaign, pretty much since the 2019 Rugby World Cup. So it's going to be great to see these guys back. And for the French, man, they've made a heap of changes. So we get to see some of their squad players in action as guys like Dupont and Jalibert and Antonio and whatnot. They get a break for a week. These guys have never played each other before, so that's a first. One of the good things we get to see at Rugby World Cups, it's teams that don't usually face each other get in action. So first ever match between these sides, which is a good one to get underway. But that means we don't have any kind of recent history between the sides. But yeah, we'll go with France first, eh? France, what is it, like 12 changes? Only Moefana at 12, Villière at 11, Woki in the second row maintain their starting spots from that game against New Zealand. Everyone else is either into the 23 from outside or kind of swapping spots from the bench. So it's Jean-Baptiste, Gros, Pierre, Bourgarit, and Dorian, Aldegheri is your front row. So the two props up from the bench to get a start, and then Bourgarit, who wasn't in the squad against New Zealand, but with Marchand being injured, gets a chance. France have got really great depth in multiple positions, and I think hooker is certainly one of them. Woki partners Taofifenua in the second row, so that's a good mix. Woki started the last game, but Taofifenua was on the bench. He's that big kind of unit, bulky player that we can expect to see enforcing some of the French hit plays. And then Woki, will be trying to disrupt the Uruguayan lineup. Boudehent, whose name I can never pronounce correctly, Macalou, and Jelonch are the back row. It's great to see Jelonch make it into the squad. And he's captain. Like, he did an ACL injury at the start of the year. It looked like his World Cup might have been over. They picked him for this World Cup based on not really any game time, but he's made it. Number 8, and he's going to captain the squad. So, fantastic bit of news for him. Macalou, he's lightning quick. If you've seen him play before, you know what I'm talking about. He's as quick as some of the backs and legit has played on the wing for France before. Lucu and Hastoy are your 9-10 combo. Lucu up from the bench and Hastoy into the 23. Hastoy, probably your third choice guy behind Intermac and Jalibert, but with Intermac being injured, good chance for him to get a bit more game experience as well. Moefana continues on at 12, like I mentioned, and then Vincent up from the bench at 13. He'll show a bit of pace if he can get into some space. And then Bielle-Biarrey, who was one of the kind of bolters into this French squad, coming in to this Rugby World Cup squad with very little, kind of none, international experience. Maybe, what was he involved in? A couple of the warm-up games, and that was it. To get into the World Cup squad is a fantastic achievement. Villière, the pocket rocket on the left wing. And then Jaminet will be looking to get some goal kicking. I mean, maybe potentially a guy for your fantasy team. If you're looking for a goal kicking fullback at 15, he gets a start after being on the bench last week. But remember, Ramos is on the bench, so they may sub Jaminet early. Who knows? Mauvaka, who was fantastic off the bench, continues on the bench. Wardi and Falatea are your front row replacements. Chillerou, after all that kind of off-the-field controversy, gets a game on the bench. Flamand drops to the bench. Gros drops to the bench. Kuyu is there and Ramos. So just the two backs. Yeah, they're going to be looking to pile on the points against Uruguay, I would imagine, based on that squad. And, yeah, vary things up in terms of the second string guys, if you can call them that, getting a turn. For Uruguay, we don't have much to compare in terms of the guys who are in and out because they didn't play last week. But these guys did play in Argentinian 15. They played Namibia and they played Chile recently. That most recent game is a pretty stable squad from the one that we see here. Sanguinetti, Pujadas, and Piculo. That's the front row. I was expecting to see Herman Kessler, but he's not even in the 23. Which is a little bit surprising. I didn't read if he's injured or not, but those are the same. Well, Sanguinetti, I know, was like one of the props who started against Fiji at the last World Cup, so a bit of a veteran at this point. Aliaga in the locks alongside Leindecker. Landecker also played at the last World Cup, so another one of your kind of veteran players. Ardao, Civetta, and Diana. Those guys all played against Argentinian 15, so it's pretty stable. Arata is maybe one of the kind of key guys to watch, at least for mine. Really exciting halfback, likes a wee snipe. Plays his rugby in France. Missed out on the warm-up games, I think injured, but he's back fit just in time, so that's a bit of good news. And then Felipe Echeverri at 10. Villaseca is captain at 12, alongside Enciate. And then Pasao, Freitas, and Amaya are the back three. Villaseca is captain. He was in the 2019 squad as well. So, yeah. Most of these guys play for Peñarol in the South American competition, but there are, I think, 4 or 5 of them who play their rugby in France. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not that familiar with a bunch of them. But, yeah, they beat Fiji at the last World Cup, man. So, hopefully, this is the chance for them to show us again what they can do. I know from their warm-up matches against the Argentinian 15, Namibia, and Chile, their line-out's been pretty solid, around about 90%. So, that's going to be something they need to get right. They're also a side that likes to maul, although they do have a smaller pack than this French side. So, whether they choose to maul up against France remains to be seen. They're pretty competitive at the breakdown. But they did miss a few tackles, like especially against an attacking side like Chile. And when you've got France on the horizon, that's concerning. Like if you're missing tackles against Chile, imagine what the French are going to do. But like I said, I hope the Uruguayan guys can take it up a notch. For France, they've played only Fiji in terms of non-Six Nations or Rugby Championship sides this year. And in that game, they had 7 clean breaks to 1. So that's like, as I said, like maybe highlights a little bit of a mismatch. Like, you know what the Fijian attack can do. And if they were limited to 1 clean break and conceded 7, that's concerning for the Uruguayan guys. The French kicked it a heck of a lot against the All Blacks. More than 40 kicks in that game. But we may see them run it a bit more against Uruguay. But it's very common for them to have less possession than their opponents, like they did against Fiji, they did against Italy. 2 sides that you might expect France to just kind of try and dominate all aspects. But France are quite happy to live without the ball, but they tend to play a bit more territory. Not necessarily, but they certainly did against the All Blacks last week. Both sides seem kind of young. A fair few guys in their kind of early to mid-20s, which is encouraging for them going forward. It's not in Paris, this one. It's at Lille. It's a 9 o'clock kickoff, which is 7 in the morning for those of us here in NZ. Ben O'Keefe is the ref. Predictions wise, France, say the bookies, by 56 points. And the rugby forecast algorithm is pretty similar. It says by 54. So, yes, we will see how they go. I forgot to mention the Uruguayan guys have picked a 6-2 split. So they'll be trying to match them up front, but it is going to be a tough day at the office, one would imagine, but let's just enjoy seeing them while we get a chance. Lovell Rugby, if you want to get yourself some France gear, put a link down in the description. That French jersey is pretty slick, so if you want to check it out and you want to get some gear, it's a good link to use. What can I say? Lovell Rugby is a good shop. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. How do you reckon this one's going to go? Who are you excited to see? And talk to you guys again soon. See you later.